Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Donation with Gift of Hope. I'm your host, Olivia Fox, and you're here for another great conversation and an interactive conversation about all things organ and tissue donation. We are here tonight streaming live, and if you aren't watching on TV, you're streaming us live at cantv.org/hotline, and anyone can call in and join our conversation by dialing 312-738-1060. And if you're calling, please get those calls in before about 6:55 so we can make sure to get to your call before the show is over. So I'm so excited for our show tonight. I know a lot of you all have been hearing the commercials and we're like, talk donation. What type of donation? What are we talking about? Donation to charity? What exactly are we talking about? In actuality, it's a little bit of donation to charity as well as education about organ and tissue donation. Each week, special guests and I will spend time talking about the importance of organ and tissue donation as well as what minorities need to know about participating in the process. Ultimately, our sole purpose is to give you enough information to dispel the long-standing myths and misconceptions that run very deep throughout many communities, while helping our viewers understand that Gift of Hope is a very honorable and reputable partner in the community. We recognize that minorities have fears of healthcare entities, and let's face it, some of it is well-founded. However, over the last 30 years, with advances in modern medicine, with help from our community partners, our religious partners, transplant physicians, and modern medicine, Gift of Hope has really been able to help turn tragedy to triumphs through organ and tissue donation, while supporting our donor families, recipients, and those waiting for a life-saving organ and tissue donation. So welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you all. I'm so excited to have my guests, and we'll be right back for donation news right after our regularly scheduled commercial break.
Nikki's donations made a huge impact on a lot of people. This one right here sitting next to me especially. When Gift of Hope came to me and asked me for the donation, it made me feel very confident knowing that I can give my baby's heart. This is Nikki's heart beating inside Tanisha's chest.
So when I heard this pounding, like, what is that noise? And the nurse said to me, that's your heart.
I carried Nikki for 9 months. Now Tanisha's gonna carry her the rest of her life.
Say yes to donation. Start the conversation with your loved ones today.
Nikki's donation.
Welcome back to the show. This evening for Donation News, we have a really awesome video to talk a little bit about Donor Family Services, which is where my guest is from this evening. So this video gives you a little taste of one of the functions of our Donor Family Services department at Gift of Hope, and actually is one of the most important showings of what we do at Gift of Hope and the reason for donation, and really how this story and how this all connects and comes together.
I didn't get the lung, I didn't get the kidney. And when I walked in the room and they told her that now I got the heart. I didn't get the lung, I didn't get the kidney, I didn't get the liver, nor the left, nor the right. I got the heart. And when I walked in the room, she wouldn't let me go. She just wanted to hug me and hold on to me. She wanted to hear her son's heart beat in me. I just wanted to say thank you. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say thank you because it gave me life.
I made the decision because I thought about my baby.
We knew that he would want to help people, and that was his way.
I shouldn't have helped somebody. He would have been like, get them their full life.
As a result of receiving Mario's liver, I was able to meet my granddaughter, who's now 11 months old.
To the story of Mario Cousins, but we have an opportunity to change the ending of this story of a young man whose life is ended right in his prime, 20 years old, and what comes out of that is the saving of 5 people's lives. They are a reflection of our country and our community in a really beautiful way.
She listened to her son's heart beat in me.
And the crazy part about it, as I was listening to her heart, I heard her son, and his voice sounded like my son. And he was like, "I love you, Mommy." And I heard my baby. As soon as I heard the beat, he was like, I'm like, "I love you too, baby."
When you have 1,000 people standing up and just going nuts cheering for this group of people and honoring Mario, it was a powerful moment. I wish everybody could just have an experience like this, of seeing these families get together and seeing what organ donation does for our community, for our families. I don't think anybody would ever say no to donation again if they just got a chance to feel just a little piece of what we feel every day at Gift of Hope.
It was heart-wrenching and fantastic all at the same time. I lost a little boy when he was 2 days old, so I can kind of relate, but I only had 2 days of memories, not 20 years. I feel that I'm carrying on Mario's legacy. I also feel that I have a whole big new family.
From day one, when God blessed me with a new heart after 27 days in the hospital, all I wanted to do was tell the donor family, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. And the donor family, I love them. I love them with all my heart. Do you hear me? Her son's heart is in me. It gave me life. It gave me life. So many people that have lost their lives, if they would know that to donate something out of that body can save somebody's life, they do it. They don't know. I know. I know. I know. I know. I'm a living witness.
That video gets me every time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
My guest for the evening is my colleague, Susan Cochran, who works with Donor Family Services. She is an aftercare specialist at Gift of Hope and works very closely in events like this. And she works with getting to see these donor families reach out to their recipients and get to even meet their recipients on a regular basis. So welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you very much. I remember being at the family meeting there, and it was a profound experience.
It really, really was. That was a very, very moving Sunday, not only for the Gift of Hope staff, but for the recipients, for the donor family, and for that entire church, that congregation that got to see that coming together and unity. Like Kevin said, I mean, that really was a picture of the United States, of what it looks like. It was a perfect picture. So
yes, and we see that a lot, Olivia. We see meetings like that. They're not that unusual to see families of diverse backgrounds that might never come together under any other circumstance. So we say donation transcends our differences, and people just give. They give because they love, they give because, you know, that was what the person was like, and it's just, wow, if we could get a little bit more of that pumped into our society today, we'd be better off, right?
And what do we say now? Donation benefits every family, and that was a perfect example of that. So we're so excited again to have you here from our Donor Family Services Department. So on the show, we've discussed that Gift of Hope has like 3 different main functions that we're responsible for: coordinating donation with 180 hospitals and 9 transplant centers in our service area, public and professional education on the topic, which is what we do here each week, talking about donation, educating the community, and also our hospital staff and partners on how to work with us. And then specifically what you do is, and what the Donor Family Services Department is responsible for, is supporting donor families after their loved one has gone on to be a hero and to save lives through donation and through organ and tissue donation. So can you tell us a little bit about the functions of the Donor Family Services Department? Because I'm sure people don't even know that we do all of that.
Just like the Cousins family, donation doesn't just end after you have donated. You're still part of our family.
Absolutely.
You receive mailings from us. You receive opportunities to participate in volunteer events. We have donor family tributes where we honor the memory of those who've donated, and we stay very involved with our donor families. We try to be a presence to them, a listening ear. We refer them to grief support. So I guess the bottom line is that our donor families, it starts with the donor family, and we continue that relationship as long as the donor family wants to.
Right, and we help them remember and understand, like you said, that that was not a one-off moment, that this is something, and the purpose of donation is so that they can continue to honor their loved one, and that their loved one can have a peace still on this earth, and that they can, connect with that in any way that, they feel comfortable and that the recipient feels comfortable. So that has been, an amazing thing. And for me, as a recipient family, I can say that, knowing that there's a donor family services department was very integral in our meeting of our donor family. So we'll talk about a little bit about those
that's
a little bit more
stuff.
down the line. So can you tell us about some of those specific programs and things that Donor Family Services does? Because I've been to some of the memory box making and the donor family meeting, the bench tributes. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the specific ways that we help people honor their loved ones and those volunteer opportunities maybe?
So, and they vary different years, but a couple of things stay the same. We have 2 tributes. One is in our downstate area, which is in the southern part of Illinois, and then we usually have one in the Chicago area or northwest Indiana, but the upper state area. And we invite the last couple of years of donor families, but we put it up on our website every year. So if a family donated 25 years ago, they can still come.
And they're on that website. Where you say that they can find it on the website, giftofhope.org.
That's right. And so we have those tributes in the fall, so that's when you'll see the invitation up there. But we physically send the invitation for the last 2 years of donor families. Next year, we're excited. We're going to have a family day. So sometimes the kids, it's hard for the kids to really resonate with the donor tribute. It's solemn and it's a little bit, it's a little bit more adult. But we want to have a day where the kids can just go out and be kids and be with other families and just have a fun time.
And that's an important point that you make. Being with other families, that is a big thing that I have seen happen, is those connections that are made between, people that have something that's not, that they're necessarily happy to be connected by, but it's knowing that there is somebody that has, been through something like you have been through, that understands losing someone and them giving so selflessly to save someone else. So those connections are what's really amazing to see. And I mean, we have some stories that you wouldn't even believe if we told them how these connections are made at these events. So.
And the Memory Box Building one is one that we have. And for those of you who don't know, we give a memory box, and it's a pretty box to every donor family when they donate. And we put in information on how they can contact us.
There you go. So that's how they know.
We put in a few trinkets, some bracelets, and some pens, and we put in a pamphlet to describe all questions that a donor family might have and how they connect with us.
Absolutely.
And so we need some help putting all of that stuff together. And so we have these big workshops, and really the least of what happens is putting the stuff together, because then we eat and we share our stories, and it just, like you said, connection is such a big piece, and we create a community.
And this is something that has become a really big event. The last one that I came to, I mean, there were over 50 or 75
I think
people there.
It goes to the fact that I think donor families do want to connect. They want to give back. And you would think they've already given the greatest gift, right? But they still want to give more. And that is just the most interesting thing, but it's just really beautiful too, that they've already donated maybe their son or their husband's organs, and now they want to give more.
And I was interested to know that a donor or several donor families were the ones that kind of started off with being the helping hands and making those boxes for other donor families. So
and then it grew.
It grew and grew, and we have recipients that come and help, and just allies of donation and transplantation. So it's grown to something beautiful. But that was an opportunity kind of seized by some donor families in which they wanted to help and give back and continue to honor their loved ones. So that was really an amazing.
And we always have food.
Always
have food. So if you want to come to any of our events,
it's It's amazing. So again, just like Susan said, if you're interested in looking out for those, you can check out any of our events going on at our website, giftofhope.org. And if you have specific questions, or even if you want to reach out to Susan or the Donor Family Services Department, you can email me at ofox@giftofhope.org if you wanted more information about any of this, or if you want to reach my colleague here that is an expert in donor family services. And you're actually an expert, I feel like, in Gift of Hope a little bit, because you've taken a very interesting journey through this, through this organization, and you've played some very interesting and important roles throughout your time. So can you tell us a little bit about the different things that you have done at Gift of Hope? And it's going to lead us to what I'm most excited to talk about tonight.
So, I've had an interesting life journey just like everyone else, but I started out with an education degree, and then I got a broadcasting degree, and I was in radio broadcasting for 17 years. Then I went to seminary, and I got my master's in religion. So you're wondering, like, how does all this end up at Gift of Hope? But it did happen 15 years ago.
For a reason, though.
And my first 11 years, I was a donation specialist, which used to be referred to as a requester, but I would be dispatched to the hospitals to talk to families that were faced with the option of donation. So that was really, really a very cool job. I mean, you were able to sit and be present and see the courage of these families making this decision on the worst day of their life.
And that was kind of like the first function that we discussed with Gift of Hope, of that part of coordinating the donation and being in the hospitals and being a part of that part of the process.
Yeah, and so now we're on the other side of that, but and then I spent a couple of years in the communications department in the media relations, kind of a harken back to my first career in broadcasting. And then now I'm here with Donor Family Services, but there's an extra little piece because of my expertise with my master's in religion and just a personal interest in world religions, that about 5 years ago, our CEO, Kevin, went to something at the Secretary of State's office where the Secretary of State was talking about donation, and he had religious leaders from all different religions. So we had Kevin come back to our Team Hope, and he said, wow, that was really cool. We should have an interfaith council. And I went up to him afterwards and I said, well, I have an interest in this. I would like to help. And that's what he did.
You do it. You do it.
Yeah, why don't you take this? So anyway, I did. And I really enjoyed it.
And that's how why you were saying in the beginning, there was a reason for your path in the beginning, and it all ended up paying off. And I think that this is kind of a perfect place for you to have, this involvement with the interfaith, and then also be involved with the Donor Family Services Department, because that has been a resource that has been really helpful in our mission to help people really understand what their cultures and what their what their beliefs say about organ and tissue donation, and also help them understand that we have an interest in their cultures and understanding what their cultures believe and what they think is good, and all of that. So can you talk a little bit about how the Interfaith Council has been a resource for Gift of Hope? I mean, it's been in a couple of different, cases and ways that it's been able to help us out, but...
Well, we started off with just putting the council together, and most people know that we're a predominantly Judeo-Christian society, so about 75% of us are Christians. So we didn't need to do a lot of education with our own staff around Christianity, but we did need to do some education around some of the minority religions. So we have representatives from Islam. We have a wonderful woman named Karen Danielson, and we have representatives from the Sikh community, Hindu, Baha'i, and Buddhism, and we have a Catholic priest, we have a Greek Orthodox priest, so we have a very robust, and 2 Jewish rabbis, diverse group of folks that come together, and it's taught us a lot about what families need from these diverse religions, because at Gift of Hope, every donor family is important to us. So we want to do the best we can to help a family and be present at these end-of-life decisions.
Right.
So we have to refer to people that are the experts, the people from the Indian religions and how they inform us from their perspective. And it's been very educational for me, but we've had some wonderful experiences where we've been able to be present with families when they've been fearful of donation, and then through some education and some members of their own faith community, they can kind of see things a little bit differently.
Yeah, and that I think is really what shifts people's understanding and their feelings about donation, because you can hear someone or you might see someone that's telling you about something, but they might not look like you, and you might, assume that they don't understand what I believe, what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. But to be able to have someone that, speaks the same language as someone, or maybe that understands, again, their religion in that way, it really makes people feel like you care. It makes people understand, not feel like, understand that we really care about, understanding them as a person, understanding how we need to educate them so that they can make the best decision for themselves, because that's what it's all about.
And we're so diverse, and it's not as easy as just, as just being able to define a family. Oh, there's a Hindu family. Well, 25% of families now are multi-religious, so they have many members. So you might not be going in and talking to one religion, and some people are more religious than others, and some people develop a different theology within their own religion. Some of the minority religions, and I just refer to them because they're minority religions in the U.S.
Yes.
They aren't hierarchical like most Christian religions are. So it's not a top-down thing. It's different schools of thought. So it can be really complex, but it's very rich. And the bottom line is love and compassion are foundational in all major religions. And that is what you see people reach into their own selves with that love and compassion and make the decisions. And their religions inform that. And their ancient scriptures don't talk about organ donation, but they talk about helping your neighbor and doing good for people and giving and charity.
Absolutely.
So it's really neat to see that.
And I've been so honored and lucky to be able to participate and learn from all of these different religious leaders. And so I'm excited to continue to learn. Every time I speak with Susan, I learn something new.
Well, that's good.
So I'm so grateful for this wealth of knowledge. And I'm glad that, again, that we are, as an organization, making sure that we are culturally aware and, honoring people in all of the ways necessary.
As much as we can be. And I stumbled upon a term, cultural humility, which makes a lot more sense to me, because
I like that.
It's hard for you to be really culturally competent because there's so many aspects. But if you can go in humble and let someone teach you what they're about,
absolutely,
it's more respectful, I think.
Absolutely, that's in every way. People can be more respectful in that way. So I have one last question for you. If you had 30 seconds to talk to a donor family on their most difficult day, which I know you have many times, what is the one thing you would tell them in 60 seconds about what donation will do for their family?
Well, donation, it's and I used to tell people it's good for you too. I mean, there's a healing that can take place, but just to honor that love and that compassion that's in all of us to help our fellow man and woman out there. We're all on this planet together, and we're not going to abandon you. If you're our donor family right now in this hospital right now, you're going to be part of the Gift of Hope family. We have a support system, and we want to be there for you. And we've just seen so many wonderful sacred moments with donor families and recipients meeting, and it's a beautiful thing.
It really, really is. And thank you so much for joining us this evening and talking about Donor Family Services.
I love that.
And our Interfaith Council.
Yeah, you do such a great job.
Thank you so much. So you will see us next week on Let's Talk Donation with Gift of Hope. We'll have another awesome guest and talk about more important information that the community needs to know about organ and tissue donation. Thanks for joining us. See you next week at 6:30. Bye-bye.